This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, is my co-host today. He's also the host of the Dr. John Deloney Show on podcast, and it is exploding! The hockey stick up and to the right. The numbers are scary. It's probably surprising to some of your friends how popular you are.
It's distressing. It's distressing.
You are answering questions about life and about relationships, and we'll throw those in with the money questions today, folks, since he's sitting here beside me. We both like getting into the boundary questions and the questions about spouses and relationships and crazy brother-in-laws and all that crap. And the phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Let's start with Maria this hour in Chicago. Hi, Maria. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Very excited to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
My question is this. It's going to be, well, I guess I'll ask the question first, and then I'll give you the background.
Okay.
Is it financial? Just financially speaking, not regarding how I feel about home ownership, just financially speaking? I'm 58 years old. I have no debt. I have fully funded emergency fund. I have fully funded retirement, both Roth and 401k.
How much?
I own my. How much is in it? There's about $1 million in it.
Okay. Cool. Good for you.
And
Well done.
Between the both, I raised my 4 kids. They're all out of college. I'm single, and my home's worth about $350, and I paid it off. It's paid off.
Okay.
Taxes are really high. Taxes are really high in Illinois. About
I heard the
$1,000
rumor.
a month for taxes. Okay, but anyway, so I think I want to downsize because I don't need my house anymore.
Cool.
And I'm not. So I would go to like a townhouse.
Okay.
So just financially speaking, would it be a really bad idea for the next 30 years for me just to rent? And the reason why I ask that is because in my heart, I've had so much responsibility in my whole life, raising my 4 kids, keeping up with my house. I wouldn't mind just writing a check every month and just be done.
Mm.
And but everybody's telling me, like, financially speaking, you could sell your house for $350, go buy something for $350 or less. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but then I got to worry about the house again, the windows, the roofs, the gutters, all that,
Mm-hmm.
That question makes sense?
No, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I understand.
Okay.
So, did you raise your kids by yourself? Are you a single mom?
For the most part. I mean, I was divorced when they were very, very young. He was.
So for 20 years, you've been a she-bear out here fighting. Scratching, clawing, and you've cleaned the gutters. You've done whatever it took, and you're just tired.
Yes, I work overtime every month at work just to make sure I was, yes.
I thought you were that girl.
I paid off my house in time.
I thought you were that girl. You sound like that girl. You sound like a warrior princess. Let's first answer your question, and then let's try to look for a solution, okay? The problem with the good part about your theory is you don't have to screw with stuff because the landlord does. So you get all this stuff out of your life. The bad part about this is think about what rents have done in the last 30 years.
Gone up.
You think? Yeah. And think about what they're going to do during the 30 years that we're talking. So if you rent instead of owning a paid-for property going into retirement, you're destabilizing your life because every year your housing cost is going to go up.
True.
So that's why it's a bad plan. It's not a bad plan to rent for a short period of time while you're rearranging things or you're in a transitionary stage or something like that. But renting for 30 years means you are a victim of the real estate market instead of riding the wave.
Can I throw something else at you?
Yep.
Okay, so I put down on paper, because this has been like stressing me out. So I put down on paper my taxes versus all my bills in my house.
Oh, I think you need to move. I think you need to move.
Okay, but like I even projected cost if I was in a townhouse.
Yeah.
The
Here's what I want you
cost.
to. Here's what I would do if you were my little sister and you're old enough to be my little sister. Okay.
Not your older sister.
No, I'm 60, so I got you beat.
Okay.
But I would tell you, you don't want to work on crap and you don't want crap breaking, and you are a millionaire. So you need to go buy a brand new condominium where someone does all the exterior maintenance and every appliance and everything inside is brand freaking new. You earned it. You're a rock star, and you need to enjoy a little bit of this money. And it's like buying a really nice car that's in really good shape after you've been driving a freaking beater, and it breaks down all the time. And, my cars don't break down now. Back when I had crap cars, because I was trying to get here, they broke down all the time. But you're a warrior, girl, and you need to enjoy the spoils of the battles that you have won, and that's $1 million and a $350,000 paid-for house. You're worth $1.5 million. I want you to sell this house. I want you to buy a $350,000 condo. You may want to move to an area that probably might feel a little bit, like it's a little too rich for you, but you need to live there anyway.
Wow. Okay, I'll think about this. Thank you. Very good information.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think that transition when you're a single mom, when you're raising kids and you're putting them through college and you're saving and you're working, you're doing overtime, it's kind of like being gazelle intense for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And suddenly your identity is, I'm a sprinter, I'm a fighter. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And how do you settle back down? You could hear it like, man, for someone who's accomplished what she's accomplished, the fact that this decision's keeping her up means it's not about this decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's about I've got to shift gears and become something else, right?
Yeah.
That's a big, big transition.
Yeah. What do you do when you come home from a 20-year campaign on the road with Alexander the Great and you're one of his soldiers after 20 years? How do you stop fighting and scratching?
You will pick
and
fights
clawing.
with your neighbors, with your dog,
how do you
with
stop
everybody.
it? And so, and that's what she is. She's a warrior princess.
That's right.
And so, these single moms, man, they get her done. These are some of the toughest people on our planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's and that's who she is. And she's like, she's kind of telling herself good things, like, I deserve a rest.
That's right. And Dave, we talk a lot about people making decisions out of stress or out of anxiousness. That's very similar to making decisions out of exhaustion. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out. Right? I just want to. I know the math is bad. I know it's going to destabilize me 20 years from now. I'm exhausted.
I don't want to fix anything
I'm exhausted,
else. I don't want to talk to any more freaking repairmen.
I've talked to people who get divorced because I'm just tired of it. Right? So I love your idea of, man, right now it feels good. It's not going to be good down the road.
No, it's a bad long-term plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would buy something brand and investigate the builder and make sure it's an incredibly high-end, high-quality builder. So you are living in a luxury situation in terms of the service you're going to be provided as well as the goods.
Love it.
You've earned it. You're a millionaire! Way to go! This is The Ramsey Show.
Cliff and I joined Christian Healthcare Ministries because we really liked the concept of Christians sharing each other's burdens. And we really experienced that firsthand when Cliff was diagnosed with heart disease.
Christian Healthcare Ministries, or CHM, is not health insurance, but rather a federally approved exemption to the healthcare law. It's a time-tested model to help take care of your healthcare costs. It's Christians helping other Christians by sharing each other's medical bills.
Adjusting to a new system of paying for healthcare was kind of tricky, but that's where CHM stepped in, and they really helped navigate that water with the hospital and the payment.
Want to see if CHM is the right fit for your healthcare needs? Check out our website at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget.
It was just such a relief to know that financial burden was going to be taken care of.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. So if you have questions about life, relationships, mental health questions as well, challenges even, give us a call. Anxiety, depression, all these kinds of things show up here. They show up on the Dr. John Deloney Show all the time as well. Got a wonderful best-selling book out, one of our quick reads. It's an 80-page quick read called Redefining Anxiety. And, of course, you can email John if you want to have your question answered on the Dr. John Deloney Show. If you want to be on his podcast, it is a talk radio type podcast format like this is. So email askjohn@ramseysolutions.com. askjohn@ramseysolutions.com, or you can leave a voicemail at 844-693-3291, or you can get in by calling right now, 888-825-5225. The lines are full, but we'll get you in quick as we can. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. You get free samples, free shipping, new promos all the time, and always use the promo code Ramsey. It's magical. It'll save you money. John, our question.
Today's question comes from Josephine in Nebraska. What a great name. We're on baby step 2 with about $20,000 in debt left to pay off, which will take about 18 months. I had an opportunity to pick up a side hustle that's in my sweet spot that would allow us to shave off at least 9 months off baby step 2. When I told my husband about this, his first response, oh boy. I can't imagine saying this to our wives.
Can you read it? Can you even read it?
His first response was, then I'll have to do everything around the house. So in order to avoid an argument, I declined the job. Now the same opportunity has been offered to me again. I spoke to him about it and get the same response. How do I deal with this selfishness?
2 before.
I was going to say, I think my wife would stab me in the forehead.
With a fork.
I mean, come on.
Good God, what a child.
What an immature, I don't know, man.
What a child. Little boy.
Yeah,
You're going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable, dude, until you wake up and learn how to serve other people. Our greatest joy comes in serving others. It is a paradox.
Right.
It doesn't sound like it, but you're going to be most happy, young man, when you learn to serve. And by the way, this woman is not going to...
You're going to be doing everything around your house in short order, my brother.
Yeah, because you're going to be the only one there, buddy.
The only one there.
She's, or you may not be living.
That's one of the two. You have a fork in your forehead.
You ever been duct taped to something when you're asleep? So. Oh my gosh,
Josephine,
yeah.
When you're dealing with someone this immature, this unwilling to hear your heart on a number of different things, man, because this is bigger than just paying off debt. This is about...
It's bigger than housework.
Yes, man. This is about you finding yourself.
Everything's about him. Oof. Okay, here's... Now that we've vented and are mad at the little wuss, let's talk... How do you actually fix this? I would say if you're not in a good church,
mm-hmm.
and there are good churches and there are toxic messes, but find a good church where the people are healthy, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Find an older couple and get them involved in your life. And that guy in that older couple will take your husband out in the backyard and splain things to him.
Splain things.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, or get a good pastor involved, or even get to a marriage counselor. Now, Junior Birdman here is not going to marriage counseling because he's too cool for school.
That's right.
But you need to go and learn how to talk to him about how this is going to end up for him, because my experience with this stuff, John, and I don't have the PhDs and all this other stuff. I've just watched it too often, even in our friends group over the years. You go through the stages of everybody's getting married, then everybody's having kids, then everybody's getting divorced.
That's right.
And so, and I've done enough financial coaching over the 30 years that I see this. Ladies in particular, and I don't know, it's not sexist. I think it's they boil until they reach a point, and then when the switch flips,
it's off.
They're done.
Right.
You can't get them back. You can't reel it back in. Guys will kind of go out there and then come back and back in, right? But once her switch flips, Junior Birdman, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because you will have lost her. She will not be. You cannot retrace these steps.
Right.
because she will put up with this. And I didn't want an argument. Now she's out saying it out loud. How do I deal with this selfishness? And then if this just continues and he doesn't get better, she's going to have enough, and there's nobody can talk her out of it. There's no amount of Bible teaching about divorce that's going to work. She's just going to be done.
Because somebody for the second time has told her, I value you, and I'd like you to come join us. Right? Ooh. And somebody in her childhood didn't tell her that. This guy surely didn't tell her that. And this is bigger than a job. This is somebody saying, hey, man, I see something valuable in you so much. Come join us. And that's what somebody says no to, right? That's what somebody says. I'm going to go towards where somebody values me, right? And so, Josephine, you got to get somebody else that you can talk to about this, and because there's bigger stuff here. But at the end of the day, you're going to have Dave, you said it, I'll say it in a nerdier way, you're going to have your or what conversation, and you got to have somebody with some wisdom before you do that. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to react. And
I don't want it to build up. I want you to get some tools to let this to by incrementally increase the heat under him, instead of you just increasing the heat inside of you, and you finally just blow up and the switch flips and you're done.
Right.
Because that's what this is. I see this a lot.
Yeah, and I understand when the switch flips, right? When you're dealing with this type of immaturity, I get it. All you can work on is you. I'm already done with him. That's right. We got one sentence, right? And we're already through with him.
We can't even get through the dadgum
Good for
email.
You, Josephine. But yeah, man. And can you imagine telling Sharon this? I'm just trying to think of saying Sheila.
You don't even want to think about how a hillbilly woman react to that. That would not be good. I'm just saying. She would give you a look that would say like chapters.
No, my skin would peel off like Indiana Jones 2. It would just all blow off.
It would melt.
It would melt off.
Your eyes would blow out of your head.
Yeah, like when they touch the Ark of the Covenant, man. Yeah, Josephine, I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah.
And whoever guys, if your wife comes to you and says, hey, I've got an opportunity to help, I want to help too, let your first response be awesome. It's going to be some stuff we got to figure out, but let's figure it out.
We'll work on this together. It does mean I'm going to have to pick up all the housework, but let's talk about this.
Yeah.
That's one way to answer this is like, I like sitting on my butt in a recliner. Man, I tell you what. We do have a manhood crisis in America. Real men know how to serve.
And vacuum.
That's serving.
I know.
It's one thing.
Especially when it's your dirt in the floor, moron. Golly, dude. I don't do the dishes. Yes, you do. They're yours.
William's in New York City. Hey, William, what's up? William
hung up. William's married to Josephine.
He's so done.
Hi, yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, that's okay. My fault. How can we help?
Dave, pleasure for having me. I appreciate it. So to kind of sum it up, I'm 27. I make about $70K a year plus stock incentives. I contribute about 6% to a Roth 401K. Been doing it since day one. And I also commit 10% to stocks via our employee purchase program, which has a 15%
they all do
discount, which is great.
They all do.
I have about 10 in private. I had about 25 in credit card.
How much do you have in employee stock?
Currently about $15,000.
Cash it out and pay off your debt.
Cash it out, pay it off?
Yep.
Okay.
And dude, I wouldn't be putting that much money into that. A 15% discount's not that much. Go back and pull your company stock and pull the charts on it and look how much it moves in a 12-month period of time. You'll see 15%. So your little discount could go away and evaporate in about 13 seconds. So I'm not playing single stocks, and I'm going to use that money and get out of debt, build your emergency fund. Hey, thanks for the call. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, is my co-host today. On the debt-free stage in the Ramsey Solutions lobby, Tori and Kayla are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, welcome. Where are y'all from?
Dallas.
Oh, welcome to Nashville. Very cool. And all the way up here to do a debt-free screen.
Got it.
How much have you paid off?
$140,590.88.
Well done.
Wow.
Yep.
How long did that take?
3 years, 11 months.
Wow. And your range of income during that time?
Started at about 90, and we got it all the way up to 175 that last year.
Wow.
Yep.
That's impressive. So what kind of debt was the $141,000?
Mostly student loans. We had about 120 in student loans,
Mhm.
and the rest were just miscellaneous credit cards, car, personal loans.
Cool.
Normal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just normal.
Yep.
How old are you guys?
I'm 32.
I'm 30.
Okay. How long you been married?
4 years.
It'll be
Almost
5
5
years in June.
Okay,
Man, you gotta answer faster than that, man.
so this started right after you got married then.
Yep.
Yes.
Right after. Yep.
So what was the story? What got you going?
Well, back in college, one of my roommates, he gave me your book. And so I read it. It's the fastest book I ever read. And I was just fired up after that. And so I come to her. I can't remember if it was immediately after I read it, but sometime I came to her like, man, look at this. We got to do this. We're going to do this. And she's kind of like,
Duh.
duh. I always planned on doing that. So after that, we got started. A couple months after I read the book. Put
Okay.
a plan in place and got started.
So you got married and went after it.
Yep.
And really didn't have to talk anybody into it.
Didn't have to talk nobody
She was
into
just
it.
waiting for you to come to your senses.
I guess so.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
Man,
Well done, you guys.
my college roommates didn't give me books. They gave me all kind of other stuff, but not books. Good for you, man.
It's funny because when I opened the book, he had question marks everywhere as if he was questioning everything you said. He was studying finance, so I guess he was,
Okay. Yeah. Well, finance professors either love me or they hate me.
Yep.
And so well, anyway, we'll move on from that.
So what do you guys do for a living?
I'm a speech therapist.
Awesome.
Yep. And during that 4 years, I was the teacher, but now I'm self-employed.
Okay.
Cool.
I love your sweatshirts. Did you have those made, or is that a thing I don't know about?
No,
Be intentional.
Yeah, my mom made them.
Be intentional.
Yep.
Okay. Because it's all about this journey you've been on then.
That's it. Yep, intentionality.
No one wins by accident.
Not at all.
It's an intentional series of steps, and you've been doing it for 3 years and 11 months.
Yep. And that's just poured over into everything in our lives, from work to our marriage, just doing everything on purpose. You got to do everything on purpose. It's just been our motto.
I like that.
Yep.
Do
Like it
everything
a lot.
on purpose.
Yep.
Wow, that's so good.
You guys, well, I just saw a thing flash up on YouTube, so you got several of these T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw a picture fly by. Okay,
Yep.
there it is.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, good. That
Absolutely.
you may have a whole clothing line going here before you know it.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go buy one after the show.
All
I
right.
like that.
There you go.
I like that.
Very cool. Well done, you guys. All right. How many of your peers, your friend group, coming straight out of college, getting married, thought you were nuts, and how many of them were cheering you on?
They didn't really say if they thought we were nuts.
They weren't that brave.
They didn't. But I don't think it was that. I think everybody for the most part was very supportive, which helped us out because we wanted to do the things they were doing and buy the house straight out of college and things like that.
mhm.
But
But you didn't.
We didn't. We rented. We're still renting. We're in the process of buying our first home now. So
Yeah, good for you.
It was hard, but I think for the most part they were pretty supportive. They didn't tell us if they weren't.
What about you, Kayla? You got any good stories on that?
I don't think so. Yeah, everyone was really supportive. Yeah. There's
Okay.
no one who was like, what in the world? We don't think this is the right thing to do.
Okay.
Did
They
either
were
of you
all supportive.
Did either of you ever have moments where the other one had to pick you up because it was getting hard? Man, I really need another car. Or I really want to go out tonight.
Oh my God. Our cars.
Our cars.
Just started on cars, man. It got to the point where I was like, man, forget this. And that's part of the story where we had one of the most important things I think was, we have to really define our why, because our why is what really kept us going. And,
What's your why?
Our why, change our family tree. When I
Okay.
read that book, I saw what could be, and it just sparked hope. And like you said, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And once you have hope, anything's possible. And I feel like we're unstoppable. We're unstoppable now. We can do anything. I feel like we can do anything.
You definitely are.
So.
Wow, well done. Way to go, you guys. Very cool. Excellent work. Excellent work. Okay, what's the story on this income going from 90 to 175 in 3 years?
Yeah, well, like I said, we were teachers. We were both in education, and I started. There's an online platform for freelance work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an app. You can just go on and hire anybody you want for anything. So I started doing everything you could on there.
Like Tackle or something like that?
Exactly. It's like that. It's called TaskRabbit. So I was scrubbing toilets. I was helping people move. I was
hustle and grind.
Painting. I was doing everything I could. Yeah.
What was the thing you did that made the most money for the shortest time?
When I was first started, it was cleaning, which I wish it wasn't, but that's what it was. But now I do a lot of mounting TVs and a year and a half ago, I didn't know how to do any of it. My dad, he's got his own home repair business, so he's taught me a lot in YouTube.
Okay.
If I didn't know how to do it, I YouTubed it.
Okay, and then you go in and act like you knew how and did it.
Exactly.
All right. I like that. That's gutsy, man.
That's exactly right. And I know you've missed being in the classroom this past year, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's been a tough year for teachers, huh?
It's been tough. I have some of my teacher friends, they just told me you got out at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's been real tough.
Yep.
And speech pathology, that's a tough gig, man. Working with little ones?
Mm-hmm. Elementary.
Oh, man.
So I've got kind of like a teacher, basically.
It's also rewarding, though, isn't it?
It's very rewarding.
You're changing family trees there, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so important.
I miss my kids, but,
I
think I'm going to stay where I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, you're killing it. You guys are doing so good. Yeah. So what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is? You did it. You paid off $141,000 in 3 years and 11 months.
Be intentional, basically.
Kind of like the shirt, Dave.
Yeah. I think the main thing is you got to we dream all the time. I mean, our date nights was riding around neighborhoods and houses that we wanted to live in. And we still do it to this day.
I like that.
Dairy Queen. It was our date
Dairy
spot.
Queen. That's our Dave Ramsey date.
Okay.
Date.
Hey, dip cones, baby, all
There
day.
it is.
Dip cones.
So, but yeah, just I think having your why, like I said earlier, you got to have a why, and it has to be defined in HD, like Chris Hogan says. And I got up on the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
And just reminding yourself all the time, because it's not if it gets hard, when it gets hard, it's going to get hard, very hard. I'm not gonna lie, it sucked.
Yeah, winning is not hard. The price you pay to win is what's hard. Yeah,
exactly. It sucked, but
that's excellent.
We just kept reminding ourselves of that why and stayed with it.
I love the driving around looking at houses you want to be in someday.
Yep.
The together.
Doing
that together.
Yep.
And that's a big deal. That's kind of like like Chris Hogan talks about dreaming in HD.
Yep, that's it.
And there it is right there, 3D HD in front of you. It's real. It's really happening. So, well done. We got a copy of Chris's book for you, Everyday Millionaires. That is the next chapter in your story, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Very, very well done. Tori and Kayla, Dallas, Texas, $141,000 paid off in 3 years and 11 months, making 90 to 175. The key is be intentional. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt free! Love it! Yeah, baby! Woo! Man,
so cool.
Coming out of school, the first thing they do, the first order of business, is set this pattern in their relationship that's going to work in every other area of their relationship going forward. They set a success pattern up here. It's unbelievable.
And I did I got out of school and was in more debt after my first year of working than before because I wasn't intentional. I was an idiot, and I was trying to keep up with the Joneses.
I don't even want to talk about it. I got you beat. So there you go. Not these guys. These guys are rock stars. Not Tori and Kayla.
On purpose.
Boom! This is The Ramsey Show. How would you like to work on something that causes Toria and Kayla to be able to change their lives? That's what we do here at Ramsey Solutions. We transform lives. We want to transform so many that disruption starts spreading like wildfire across our country. Imagine a day where it's weird to have a student loan, where it's weird to borrow money to buy a car, where the credit card has been declared the cigarette of the financial industry, where you do work that you love, where you know how to get along and do relationships because Dr. John Deloney has intersected with his information your life and it's changed everything. Imagine being part of causing that level of disruption with the work you do. Well, that's what we do. We got about 1,000 folks here. We are adding 360 this calendar year. We're just finishing up another building next door to put everybody in. And if you want to join this crusade, we're currently on the hunt for software engineers, Ruby on Rails, Java, C#, front-end technologies, UX designers, SEO folks, content folks, marketing specialists, digital marketing specialists, and a lot of other stuff. If you are a senior developer, I can promise you we want to talk to you. We want to talk to everybody, though. If you want to find out about the jobs that are available, and you want to do work that actually matters, and you want to actually go home at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock rather than work 80 hours a week, we don't work 80 hours a week. We go home with our families. Find out about the jobs available at DaveRamsey.com. Click the Dave's Hiring tab on the right-hand side of the page.
That just reminded me, man, when I was a kid in college, they used to tell us, 80% of the jobs that y'all will work one day don't exist yet. All those things you just said,
rattled off, you don't know what they
even are. Right.
I only know what they are in the last 36 months, so because I've had to learn as the CEO. Otherwise, because I was like, we're paying $225,000 a year for what?
Exactly. For something that
exactly
didn't exist.
What do they do?
Right.
And so you start finding out, oh, that's what they do.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I get that. That makes sense. Wow. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. John is with us. John is in San Diego. Hi, John. How are you?
Hi, how's it going, Dave and John? It's a pleasure to talk with you guys.
You too. What's up?
So my mother is getting what would you call it, a gift from my grandmother selling her house, and she's about to receive probably around $150,000.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to use that to buy a house here. And basically the problem is my father's kind of hesitant because he's been burned in the past. We lost our house back in the 2008 crisis. And he's just afraid of basically something happening in the future and not being able to hold on to the house, basically.
That's understandable. Mm-hmm. So what's the question?
So he actually wants me to co-sign with him because
Why?
My mother is actually getting back to work. He feels that his credit isn't up to a certain amount that would get him the loan, even with the 20%.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no way.
No. You don't co-sign for anyone ever.
Think about what you just asked. You asked, my dad is so scared that something bad's going to happen again that this time he wants to attach me to it.
Right, yeah, because that's why I wasn't sure about doing that.
Yeah, no, you're super sure. It's just hard when your dad says, hey, man, I'm so scared that I'm going to drown. I want to chain myself to you, so if I drown, you drown too. How about that? And I know that's not what he's saying at all. But
it is actually what he's saying.
That's what he's going to do.
Meant.
That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, it's not what he meant. So the answer is no.
Yeah.
It is not good for him, and it's not good for you to co-sign. If they are not in a position to buy a home, they need to do the things they need to do to get in a position to buy a home. Now, we can alleviate your dad's fears of buying a home and something bad happening. You're not going to lose your home. It's very rare for you to lose your home if you have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses and you have no other debt but the home, and you buy a home where the payment's no more than a fourth of your take-home pay on a 15-year fixed rate. Now, those are Ramsey guidelines on buying a home. And if he does all of that, which I suspect since his credit sucks that he has debt, and he has some outstanding bad debt, doesn't he?
Actually, he's getting out of baby step 2. I think he only owes about $3,000 on his car.
Okay. Then he
So
had some old bad debt.
Done,
okay.
He did. Yeah, he had some back taxes and other debt.
And that's all paid now?
Yes, that's
Good.
it.
That's great. Well, let's get through 6 months of expenses built up, or hold that back out of the 150, one of the two. And it's okay if he sits there and rents for 6 months to a year with absolutely zero debt except that rental. His credit will start to heal. But I would never tell anyone to co-sign. I have co-signed for people and had the opportunity to pay the bill. The reason that a bank wants a co-signer is because they don't think the main signer is going to pay.
Mm-hmm. It's always a signal to me when a business
that loves
tells me
loaning money.
I won't take your money.
Yeah,
right.
I love loaning money, but not to this guy without your help.
Right. So that instead of it being an insult, it should be a signal. Right.
There you go. That's it. And you're not being disloyal to your dad. As a matter of fact, quite the contrary, you're being loyal to him. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to move on with your life 5 or 6 years. They're going to move on. Everything's going to be okay. You're on this stinking loan, and you decide it's time to buy a house because you got married, or you and your wife currently decide to buy a house. And guess what? You can't, because you have this contingent liability called a co-signature on his, and it's going to bring you down, keep you from buying a house. Or every time he pays late, you know what it does? It dings your credit.
Or he gets sick and can't work, and suddenly you are having to work to pay his house
payment because it's your house payment because you signed for it too. Proverbs 13, or it's not Proverbs 13, 17, Proverbs 17:18 says, one lacking in sense cosigns for another. That's the New King James Version. If you read the contemporary English version, it says, it is stupid to cosign. It's exactly what it says.
I thought that was the Dave Ramsey version.
No, it's a contemporary English version. It's a real version of the Bible. It says it's stupid to cosign.
Huh.
Yeah, because of the whole premise is you're going to end up paying it.
I don't know a family that doesn't have some sort of discord in it because somebody signed for a student loan, somebody co-signed for a car.
Money from their borrowed money from grandpa, whatever. I mean, this incestuous handling of money is it's just a disaster. Please don't do it, John. I know you want to do good by your dad, but just smile and be kind, be loving. Say, Dad, I love you, and I want good things for you. And me being on this loan is not a good thing for you or me. I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. I'm so proud of what you've done, getting these debts paid off and being on baby step 2. Encourage him, but don't co-sign for him. And parents, that would be the same thing for your children.
Don't put your kids in that situation.
No, but the opposite is don't co-sign for your kids to get a house.
No.
You know, I'm trying to help my little baby get a house. Yeah! Leave your grown children to be grown.
Yes.
It's a novel idea, helicopter. And so you have heard this term. I was speaking, Coleman and I were talking about this yesterday, I guess. I've got a friend that works in the education field, coaching school administrators and teachers and so on. And she said, we were at dinner, and she said, there's all these new terms now. She said, you know what a helicopter parent is? Oh, yeah, I know. I definitely know what a helicopter is. They fly in, pick up, take care of everything.
Protect everything, yeah.
She said, do you know what a lawnmower parent is? Do you?
No, I do not. I've not heard that. What is that?
I have not. It's a true thing, though.
Huh. What is it?
They cut the grass out in front of them so that they don't have any hard times.
Assuring that they will never know how to handle hard times. Not if, but
assuring
when they
never know how to walk through tall grass.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard that before.
That's
lawnmower parents.
Lawnmower parents are the next step after you're a helicopter parent, and it's continuing to deteriorate.
So the greatest.
These are all these great phrases for codependent.
The greatest parenting thing was my wife. I went to help Hank. I don't want him to fall down, and she said, "He's gonna fall down once," and that was the greatest. Like, let him fall, then he won't climb back up on that anymore.
Your wife's tough.
She's so wise.
She's tough. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. He's the guy that does the Dr. John Deloney Show, oddly enough, and it's a wonderful podcast that is exploding where we deal with your issues about life, relationships, mental health challenges, boundaries, family things. It's all woven in together. And guess what? It's all woven in together here on the Ramsey Show as well, and always has been for the last 30 years. So it's perfect that he's here to help. The phone number here is 888-825-5225. You've got questions for Dr. John and or me, we will definitely both jump in. 888-825-5225. Mark's with us in Seattle. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey, good, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Great, man. What's up?
First off, just wanted to give you guys thanks for, everything that you guys do. My parents are big Ramseyers. They went through your class, through church and all that. They just kind of taught me everything, and I passed along my brother-in-laws who are big listeners, and I'm sure they're even listening now. Just had a quick question for you. I'm going to be getting out of the military here soon, within the next year. We're on baby steps 4 and 5 right now. I have 2 kids and all that. I got about $15K in the savings, and when I get out, we're looking at moving back home to Florida, or home for us, back to Florida. The question with that is, my wife is able to transfer. She's a government contractor. She makes between $20,000 and $25,000 a year, but I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And so we're trying to figure out, when we go back to Florida, if it would be smart for us to, finally get the house that we've wanted. We've been nothing but renters our entire life. Finally get the house we want, or should we continue renting until I can find a nice, steady job, and basically go from there?
You're not going to get the house you want with $25,000 a year income.
Yeah, did you say she makes $25,000 a year, or $125,000?
Yeah, 25 grand a year. We got about $15,000 in savings.
This is a little bitty house, my man.
Yeah, I wouldn't even transfer. Just go get a job at Starbucks and make $25,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, and you don't have enough income to buy a house that you're going to be pleased with.
Okay. And so I have the GI Bill that
doesn't matter. They don't give you houses. They don't qualify you for houses under the VA that you can't afford.
Okay. We'll if I went that route, we'd still be getting I'd be getting about $1,600 a month for the housing allowance, as well as me working either part-time if we go that route.
Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about the GI. You're not talking about the GI Bill to buy a house. You're talking about you're going back to school.
Yeah.
Oh, and you want to take the stipend and do that on top of hers? No. You need to rent until you're out of school.
Yeah.
Rent until I'm out of school.
Yeah. What are you going to study?
Right now, I'm just working on my just general associates, and then from there, I got a couple of different things I'm looking at. Looking at nursing degree. And my eyes are kind of open right now. I'm kind of getting out of the military earlier than I expected.
Okay.
So we're just kind of open to anything right now.
Thank you for your service, and you have this wonderful benefit to have education at your fingertips. Education with no game plan as to where it's going to take you is known as a waste of time.
Okay.
So you need to spend the next few months dialing in a detailed career path and game plan that then will tell you what kind of education you need to get. You may not need a 4-year degree. You may want to go into technology and get some Microsoft certs. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're going to do. You may want to go in the real estate business, in which case you don't need a 4-year degree. You need a real estate license. I don't know what you're going to do with your life, but you need to dial that in and don't just go to school because it's there.
Okay.
That's going to take you nowhere.
Right.
John's got a PhD in higher education. Am I wrong?
No, I do. And I've worked with veterans for years who they get out and then they come and they just start going to school and think they're going to figure it out on the way. And then you know those that are dialed in, and there are a few students as that you want in your class more than a dialed in veteran who knows what they're going after, has got a game plan. Thank goodness for this benefit that I think they fully deserve. But yeah, I'd rather see you go work for a year, go be a nurse's aide, go work in a hospital, go do something and see, is this what I want to do? Don't want to dedicate the next 4 to 6 years of my life doing this.
You do not have to go straight into school out of the military.
Okay.
It does not invalidate your GI Bill.
Right. And yeah, the only thing is trying to set up something. Like I said, I have the 2 kids and all that, so we're going to need that.
That's
some
right.
type of income coming in, and her salary isn't going to really cut it.
That's right. That's
exactly. That's what my point is. And so buying a house is down the road.
Yeah.
The big thing in front of you is to, you got 1 year. So let's set some deadlines and say 90 days from today, we will have spent enough time in prayer, in discussion, in reading, in learning, in visiting some people that are in different career fields.
That's right.
Talking to reading everything Ken Coleman writes, and learning about careers and where you're going to go, to have dialed in. And then you say, I've got 9 months to get prepared to start knocking out the things that are going to allow me to go be one of those after you've decided what one of those is. Go do that, be one of those, then talk about buying a house.
How many people over the years, Dave, have you talked to veterans who come in and they get that house buying quote-unquote benefit, then they find themselves stuck? I used to live – one of the colleges I worked at was next to a base, and it just felt like there was a rotation. They got a stipend to live off base, and they just go buy a house, and then in 2 years they're getting shipped out somewhere, getting sent out.
Yeah, it's a mess.
They had no money down, so they're upside down. And
yep, they're stuck.
It just feels like people got stuck a lot.
Yeah. The VA loan, the sad thing is the VA loan for housing is supposed to be a nice benefit. Now, the education loan is a nice benefit,
right,
but the VA loan actually sucks.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 reasons. One is it's actually more expensive. It's a higher interest rate and higher fees, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You would think that if you're going to give the veterans a benefit, that it would be cheaper.
It'd be better than everybody. That's right.
But it's not. So there you go. There's your Veterans Administration working for you. But then the second thing is they do have this zero down idea, which means the seller pays all the closing costs. You literally can walk in and sign the papers with not a dollar and buy a house.
But you can never walk out that back door again.
Exactly. Right? But then you owe 100% more than 100% by the time all the stuff's rolled into the thing of what the house is actually worth. You know how long it takes to get out of that? 5 to 7 years before you got enough equity to sell it and break even.
And that, jeez Louise.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a trap! Don't step there. It's going to rip your leg off.
And I know you want to come home, get plugged in, get a house, get those kids, everything stable. Just hang in there, man. Hang in there.
The VA didn't mean for that to be a trap. They were trying to be nice,
but
nothing down is not nice. Nothing down screws you over. And at a higher interest rate than you could have gotten if you put down a good down payment.
That's
wild. So, no, you don't want that benefit. You're right. It's a trap. It's a trap. This is The Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices. And they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us here on The Ramsey Show. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Well, folks, 2020 was crazy, and your 2020 taxes are going to be crazy. So first you need to, some of you got unemployment. Did you know that's taxable, by the way? Yes, that's taxable income. Another big thing to keep in mind was remote working. If you left your resident state to work remotely from another state, you may have to pay taxes in 2 different states. How joyful is that?
Come on, man.
Wasn't always the case. It depends on the state you live in, depends on the state you worked in, and if you lived and worked in different states, you need to look into state taxes, and you need to know how this works. It's complicated. If you're unsure if 2020's made your taxes different, take our tax quiz. It's free. It'll tell you if your situation is simple enough to do with tax software or if you're better off hiring a pro. Text the word tax quiz to 33789 and you'll find out what your tax situation really looks like. We'll help guide you, and we can hook you up with the Ramsey Smart Tax software or with one of the ELPs for taxes, the pros. Whatever we need to do to help you, we're going to help you. Text tax quiz, no spaces, to 33789.
And just so people know, that's the tax stuff I'm using for my taxes for my family. It's
there
good
we
stuff,
go.
man.
Just like that. Charles is in Toledo. Hey, Charles, how are you?
Hey, I am great. Glad that I found you on the radio.
Well, thanks.
Sorry, on iHeart, actually. A friend of mine years ago introduced me to some of your methods, not to you. So that kind of slowed my progress down a lot. I could have been doing a lot more sooner, but I am 50, pretty much debt-free except for mortgage. And when I start putting in, it's a 0% mortgage. So it kind of doesn't make sense to really save a lot of money to skip the 401k to pay that off. But I can do that. But so the point is, does the Financial Peace University or the Dave Ramsey Plus teach me how much of my money I can spend where? For example, I like to take my wife and kids out to dinner, but I don't know. I can't find online how much am I allowed to allocate towards that per month. I'm a late saver. I only have about $20,000 in my Roth IRA at the moment. So I do want to put in as much as I can. In July, I'm eligible for a Roth 401k that they will match 7%. So obviously
Wonderful.
I want to do that.
That's great. Well, budget percentages would change depending on your situation. If you're in what we call baby step 2, meaning you're clearing off all your debts except your home, and I think that's where you said you are. If you're already past baby step 2, then yes, you can allocate some. You can lighten up your percentages and allocate some for fun, some for restaurants and vacations and those kinds of things. If you are in the get out of debt mode, gazelle intensity in baby step 2, the allocated percentage for restaurants is 0. The allocated percentage for vacation is 0 while you work your way out of debt. And that's not like Dave Ramsey's punishing somebody like some of these idiots say on social media, but it's more like this is how you win.
Right.
You have to pay a price to get out of debt. It's how I won. Right. You have to pay a price to get out of debt. It's not easy. It's hard. Now, but as you go along, yes, there are some guidelines. We've got some percentages. Some of them are in the back of the different books. In, for instance, Total Money Makeover, I think there's a percentage guidelines in the forms section in the back of the book, the old analog forms. I don't think there are percentages in every dollar, if I remember, in the budgeting app. Which is really what I recommend you use. But if you're just looking for some guidelines, there's that. Now, one that is well known is we tell folks not to have more than 25% of your income, take-home pay, going out in housing, your house payment. And so there you are. But what ends up happening is this: the percentages don't matter as much as every dollar that goes to one thing can't go to another. And once you start doing that with your spouse, then you come to an agreed amount for restaurants. Right. And it's, and so if you make $70,000 a year, the agreed amount for restaurants is not $700 a month.
Right.
Because you can't hit your other goals. And you're going to make those decisions automatically when you're looking at it. But there's not a magic formula that says, if you just limit your restaurants to this. But instead, you start making wise decisions that every budget category is a trade-off. Putting money in one, by definition, means there's no money for the other one.
And I like what Rachel talks about is asking yourself that next layer, which is, why are you buying that? Are you buying another shirt? Do you have money in your clothing budget because you actually need new clothes? Great. Are you buying new clothes because that's your addiction, right?
Yeah.
That is a way you're wallpapering over some other stuff you need to be dealing with. So I like to ask myself.
And the eating out thing is that.
That's right.
It's not for showing off for other people, but, why are we eating out so much?
Right. Is it because we don't like spending time at home? Is it because one of us doesn't want to cook or doesn't like to cook or we can't get to the store? Or is it just because at the end of the day we just...
It's a form of entertainment.
That's right. That's right.
And so are we, what's going on with that? Why are we doing that? Doug's with us in Tampa. Hey, Doug, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Mr. Ramsey. Hi, Dr. John. I'm a little nervous, but here goes.
Okay.
I met a wonderful woman a few months ago after moving down here from Pittsburgh, and there's a large gap in our income where I'm about $60,000 and she makes about $175,000. Has a house that's valued at over $400,000.
She sounds like a wonderful woman.
She is, and she's listening at home working. And I've been down this road before. In 2010, met somebody and married her, and 9 months later, I was diagnosed with leukemia.
Ooh.
However, in the meantime, we were trying to buy a house, and I had no credit. And in order to get approved for a mortgage, I had to take out credit cards. Long story short, 3.5 years later, she divorced me before my cancer treatments were over, and I ended up moving into my own place.
Wow.
But,
how can we best help you today, Doug?
Well, okay. Well, how do I see a future with this woman, but I've tried to convince her if she gives me $100,000, I'll give her 2% cash back. And she says, well, I won't have things. But if
so confused. Why would she give you $100,000?
Well,
what are you talking about?
For credit cards, she likes to use credit cards still. And I'm saying,
you
talk about the metaphor.
I thought you just met a girl and were like, hey, babe, give me $100,000.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
No.
Yeah, that's a problem. So, okay, here's the thing. The number one cause of divorce in North America today is money fights and money problems. And John will tell you, and all good PhDs in psychology will tell you, you're not really fighting about money. You're really fighting about what's important to you. Power, control, life,
values,
options, margins.
Right.
And so until you guys can work your way through this and get on the same page about money, the relationship is stalled.
Right. And she's not better than you because she makes more money than you. And you are not better than her because of fill in the blank. Y'all got to come at this at equals. Who cares who's making the most money right now?
Right. Or what the past is.
That's right.
The past just makes you want to address it.
Right.
Which is a good thing. But if you can agree on your money principles and on your spending, you are agreeing about your whole freaking life.
Right.
Because those things flow around it. And when you cannot, then you're stalled until you can. And so I would recommend you guys jump in. You can jump in and go through Ramsey Plus, jump in there together and start taking some of the classes together. It gives you a point of reference to talk through some of these things. And, as this goes forward, you may want to do some pre-marriage counseling that'll get you there as well. Don't marry someone that you're not on the same page with about money. This is The Ramsey Show. Now, we love doing debt-free screams on the Ramsey Show. We particularly love doing debt-free screams live in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. We really love doing debt-free screams in the lobby on the debt-free stage when it's one of our own Ramsey team members, and Kate Cameron is with us on the stage, and half the dadgum building is out here to watch, to cheer her on, to do her debt-free scream. There's hundreds of people out here. Is you a little nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're up here doing a world-class radio show. There's about 3 people milling around out here. You walk up here, and the whole place shuts down and comes out here.
A lot of support, that's for sure.
Very cool.
Very cool. How much debt you paid off, Kate?
$25,564.
Cool. How long did this take?
12 months.
12 months. I will not ask your income because your peers are standing around, and that would be unfair. So what kind of debt was the $26,000?
It was all student loans.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so now you've been with us about, 3 years?
It'll be 2 next week.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in the Ramsey Education Department, meaning you work with the high schools and the K through 12, right?
Yes, I do.
And what do you do there?
So I talk with our teachers and administrators, and I get them to have our curriculum for the students.
Yeah, be able to teach foundations in personal finance.
Exactly.
Some of the 48% of the high schools in America that teach it, and it's all your fault. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. So you've been here for 2 years, and it sounds like you've been working on this process about that period of time then. So does the story have something to do with joining us, and so you're like, oh, I guess I better do this stuff?
Yeah, so when I first moved down here, I was really excited. And funny story, I had my car break down before I moved down here from Michigan. So I was like, you know what? I love this job. I'm meant to be here. I know I am. So I moved into an apartment right next to the old building, actually. So I walked to work, walked to the grocery store for about 3 months. And then I was really thankful, while I was saving up, I had my family friend just gift me a car. So it's just one of those things that things just work in your favor when you're following God, right?
Yeah.
And so after taking FP, I was like, I really need to be doing this. I need to be doing it the right way. And so I finally decided, after actually taking it twice, to just say I'm going to be gazelle intense. So my 2020 goal was I'm debt free. That's my 2020 goal.
And you did it during the pandemic then?
Yes.
Well, of course, your pay didn't stop here, so that wasn't interrupted. But our lives were all turned upside down anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay. So who were your biggest cheerleaders?
Definitely my friends, my family, and of course my team, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So, Mom and Dad, where did you move from to move here?
Mid-Michigan.
Okay, so they're back home cheering you on then, huh?
Yes. Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So, what was the hardest part of this? I mean, working in Ramsey's hard anyway because we work our butts off.
Yeah.
And this stuff's all over you. And then, you're smothered with it, right?
Right. Well, I think the hardest part for me to even get started was I had a very anxious money classroom, as we teach from Rachel's book, right? And so I was so afraid to spend thousands of dollars paying off my student loan debt because I'm like, I need this money, right? I was used to a very paycheck to paycheck kind of, classroom, that anxious classroom. And so it was after I went through FPU that I'm like, listen, I need to be doing this. I know I can do it. I have a stable income. There's no excuse. So I think the hardest part when I was actually in the journey was saying, I know I can do this. I'm going to do my discipline. God's going to provide, and just continue to get excited about the process.
So you're neck deep in it, and then we put everybody in the auditorium downstairs. COVID hits, and we said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Everybody, we're going to start working from home, and if we don't keep revenues up, it's not going to go well.
Right.
And, leadership won't take pay first, but eventually, if we don't get revenue in this place, it's going to start costing people jobs. I made that announcement, and you're sitting there pouring all your money onto debt and gave all your savings up. You had to be freaking out.
Yeah, a little bit. And I'm in a sales role, so of course that's always uncertainty. But I had faith in God, and I was at the time working at like part-time for a catering company, serving there. And of course, with catering companies, it's usually like big events, weddings, that kind of thing. And so that ended too. So it was like, okay, one thing after another. But I found another job serving and bartending, and I was like, I'm going to put my work in and God will provide. And he did. And I'm really thankful to be here.
And of course, sales went down because the school administrators weren't there to buy curriculum from you. And then they came back up.
Right.
Yeah, so it's turned out okay by the end of the year, but it's been quite a roller coaster you went through emotionally while you did this. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
That was tough.
Yeah, and you're coming to work every day. Your job was to talk to people who were completely frazzled all day long too.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot about secondary traumatic stress. You experienced that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, daily I would have teachers be like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know about curriculum. I don't know about anything. And I'm like, okay, we're going to make it through, guys. Like, I promise it'll be okay. One way or another, we're going to get these students through. So
every day, every week, you are talking to frazzled people on top of your frazzled world, right? And going home saying, I'm doing the right thing. I'm following the plan. I'm following the plan. I'm following the plan. Good for
God's
you.
got my back. God's got my back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well done, Kate.
Thanks.
Very well done. You're tough. You are tough.
So there's a 26-year-old out there that owes $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, and they're just not all in. Explain the feeling just throughout your body. Explain this to folks, what this feels like now.
Now that you're free.
Yeah, it is just so fun to be like, okay, I just got a paycheck and I have options. Like, of course I'm saving, right? Baby step 3, but it's like, okay, I don't need to put it towards my student loans. I don't need to put it towards this thing that I owe. Like, I have options, and that freedom and that ability to say I get to choose what I get to do with this is so worth it. 100 times over.
It was worth the really tough, hard, scratch and claw year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The price you paid was worth it.
Exactly.
You ever go back in debt?
No. Oh my gosh. No. That's scary. It's like, no, sorry. I love my options.
And Kate, you are tough, and you went step by step, but I don't want the people listening to this, and you can't see it, but man, you are surrounded by people, and we cannot do life by ourselves, and you've got cheerleader after cheerleader after cheerleader in this room, and so everybody's here sharing in this extraordinary achievement, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
So well done. So proud of you. All right, it is Kate from the Education Solutions team, where she calls schools and administrators and teachers every day to get them to teach the high school curriculum, Foundations in Personal Finance, because don't you wish you had learned this stuff when you were a kid? It's almost our byline over there, and highly successful, and this is what you call an incredible 26-year-old right here.
I'm telling you.
We got a building full of these. They're incredible.
It's incredible.
They're incredible. So proud of you. So well done. All right, Kate, $26,000 paid off in 12 months. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt-free!
Yeah! Yeah, baby!
So awesome.
Yeah. People don't understand that have never led an organization that during the pandemic, those of us that were leading companies, we're looking out at a room full of her going, it's my job as the leader to keep the revenue coming in so she gets to live her dream.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking all that stress we went through last year in leadership to be able to keep this place afloat, be able to keep things running, all the criticism we took, that's why we did it.
That's right.
For her. Because she keeps her job.
That's right.
And she gets to do this. I'm so proud of her. That is so cool, man.
And she didn't cave in. She didn't quit. She didn't say, well, I'll try again in 2021.
Yeah.
She didn't
panic.
Yeah.
She played through. Act of faith. Walked out her faith.
Kept making the calls.
What a cool 26-year-old.
It's awesome.
Very cool. Got a building full of them, man.
Love it.
This is The Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. This is the Ramsey Show. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Donna's in Utica, New York. Hi, Donna. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing well. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Okay, so I have a whole life insurance policy, and I would like to cash it in. I just found out that there's dividends on the policy, which I believe are tax-free. I have a loan out on the policy and a cash value on the policy, a small cash value. So my question is, should I take out the dividends first, or if I cash it in, will I get those dividends that I have on my policy?
You should get them if they haven't been used to buy paid-up additions.
Yeah, they have not. I didn't even realize
They would have just been added to your cash value.
What's that? I'm sorry?
They would have just been added to your cash value, and none of this is going to be taxable.
So they're saying I got $4,300 in dividends and a cash value of $5,300, but then they said I'm going to be capital gains taxed on 80. No?
Nah.
Okay.
I doubt it.
So
here's how the calculation works. Okay, the dividends are not taxable. Period. Okay, how much is your loan?
The loan is $15,000. I didn't even remember.
These numbers are above the loan being paid back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because you don't get the loan money. I mean, the money the cash value has to pay off the loan first. So now, as far as the cash value, whether it has a capital gains or not, here's the basis. All the money you've ever paid into this policy added together is your basis. So do you remember what your premium is?
$40 a month.
Okay. For how long have you been doing this?
1992.
So $500 a year for 30 years. Okay. You don't have any capital gains. 30 times 500, all right, is more than your cash value. You would only have a capital gain is if all the premiums you have paid in over time is equal to more than your cash value or less than your cash value. And it never is, because these things suck so bad. They're horrible.
I know.
Okay. Now, let me tell you how a dividend works, just for the fun of it. Okay. Now, how old are you?
60.
Okay. Do you need life insurance? Does someone count on your income to eat?
No.
Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. Do y'all have a pile of money other than this?
Well, I mean, we have savings, but I mean, I probably only have about $10,000 in savings.
So how does he eat if you die?
Well, he's working and has a retirement.
Okay. All right. So if you don't need life insurance, then it's fine. If you want to buy some life insurance, you would buy it prior to canceling this. That's thing one. Now, a dividend is not taxable because it is not a dividend in the true sense of the word. A dividend is when a company makes a profit, like Home Depot, and they pay their stockholders some of the profit out, and that's a dividend. Okay? Life insurance dividends have nothing to do with that at all. There are two kinds of companies in the life insurance world, stock company and a participating company. Stock company never pays dividends. The only ones that do are participating. The stockholders of a participating company are the policy holders. So if you have a State Farm policy, or you have a, I don't know, whose is yours with?
Prudential.
Yeah, Prudential's participating, okay? And that means that the policy holders are the owners. Now, in order for them to give you, an owner, profit back, they would have had to charge you extra to create that profit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's no dividend if I own the company and I want to buy something from myself, and I charge myself a little extra so that I can give myself back some more money.
That's nice of you.
That's nice of me. And so that's why the IRS has deemed life insurance policies that have dividends to be non-taxable, because the actual ruling states it's the return of a deliberate overcharge.
Right. Okay.
And that's why it's not taxable. It's a shell game. It's a scam. And
Okay.
so it's of no benefit at all. So that's just all that is you paid too much for the policy all these years, so now you got $4,000 of it coming back. That's all that was.
Right.
Then on top of that, you paid too much to build up a cash value, and you're going to get that back, but you're not even getting back all that you paid in, so you got no taxes on that either. So that's the moral of the story on that. And these whole lot, that's one more way that these holiday or one more way that these whole life policies suck. It's just unbelievable. And by the way, you paid extra to create the savings account in there called cash value, and when you wanted your money out, you had to go borrow your own money and pay them interest to do that. So that loan you've been paying interest on was where you borrowed your own money.
And this whole time, do these companies take that money and then they go invest it somewhere else and keep the gap, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So they're like a long-term interest-free bank.
Virtually interest-free.
That is making money on their stuff, right?
That's why, in any skyline in America, you drive around, there are two tall buildings, banks and life insurance companies.
Right.
You built them, people.
Wow.
You built them in both cases. You gave them your money. And, this is the great credit card scam, the great, car loan scam, the great whole life insurance scam. And some of the wealthiest companies in America are life insurance companies because they have all of the money like hers sitting on the books. In the commercial real estate business, if you want to go get a shopping mall for $26 million and you want to find a lender for that, the primary lender is life insurance companies. They do tons.
So they're functioning as their own bank inside
They do tons of commercial lending.
And they're lending her money.
And they make the spread.
That's right. Wow. Huh.
So you just follow the money, baby. Just follow the money, and you'll see where it is. You'll see what's been going on. So, oh, man.
I had never heard that you get the blessing of them increasing your rate and then saying, hey, here you go. Here's some of it back. Look how benevolent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, if as long as your cash value, now if her cash value does include her loan amount, so I'm going to rethink that. She probably had about a $15,000 basis, and she said she had a $15,000 loan, so she might actually have a capital gain. You'd have to see your tax professional to be sure and double check that. But the way you calculate your basis is all the premiums you've ever paid in is your basis, and as long as your cash value is not higher than that number, and it almost never is, then there is no capital gain on it because you lost money.
You lost money, right? You didn't keep up with inflation, putting $40 under your bed for 20 or 30 years.
You'd have been better off putting it in a fruit jar. You'd have ended up with more money.
Wow.
At the end of this story.
Wow.
You wouldn't have the life insurance, but if you put your money in a fruit jar and buy an inexpensive term policy, you'd ended up with more money.
Yeah.
If you put the money in a real investment, like a mutual fund, and buy
money.
an inexpensive term policy, good Roth IRA, you'd end up with millions of dollars more.
Wow.
I mean, that little $40 a month policy would have amounted to not, we're talking about $8,000, $15,000 here, these kinds of numbers. It would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Difference. Instead, they loaned money to a shopping mall developer with her money. That's how it works. Oh, well.
That's discouraging.
It is. It is.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Well, you just, live and learn. Don't buy a whole life policy.
That's right.
And if you got one, get rid of it. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality and host of the explodingly popular Dr. John Deloney podcast, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You get real talk on life, relationships, mental health issues, the chaos of anxiety, depression, disconnection, and all kinds of just good old grandma common sense stuff from Dr. John all the time on his show and when he's on here too. So you can call in right now, 888-825-5225. If you can't get through today, because the lines are always pretty full around here, you can always email and participate on John's show by emailing askjohn@ramseysolutions.com or leave a voicemail at 844-693-3291. Ryan starts off this hour in Akron, Ohio. Hey, Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up in your world?
Awesome. Hey, well, I've always enjoyed personal finance and learning about it. And in college, I even helped friends, make budgets and just basic stuff like that. And I just got so excited about it. I knew I wanted to help people with their money. And I graduated this past May 2020, got a job at a bank because I thought, that's a great place to help people with their money. And that's right around this time I started to listen to your show consistently and really do the baby steps for myself.
Good for
and
you.
I've seen how many, I've seen how many lives your plan has changed, dramatically. And I feel like the stories I hear on your show are from people who would walk into the bank and I would feel pressure, from my boss and from corporate to sell credit cards and sell home equity lines of credit. I feel like I'm in this position where I'm putting people in a position to, come to your show. And you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I'm pushing, my job is to push debt and more debt. And I'm just wondering where, in the financial world can I go where this isn't the, tool of making money for companies is debt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you work in a pizza place, you're going to be selling pizza. That's the way it works. So, I mean, that's, and if you're a health food nut, that probably is not going to be
right.
Not going to be congruent, right? Yeah. So that's kind of where you find yourself. A lot of people with your itch gravitate towards the investment advisory side of the business, like our SmartVestor Pros, where you work for a local organization that is a member of a broker-dealer, and you help people get investments going. And most of those people do not peddle debt. Most of them peddle investments. And some of them extend beyond that into some basic financial planning, like they'll hook you up to help you get a will, or they'll hook you up. In that world, they do. Now, our SmartVestor Pros generally just do investing, but the ones that we endorse. But, some of them get into that. Some of them get into a little bit of, but you'll have the opportunity. Let's say you had a client that had an investment portfolio that was 60 years old, but he had a 30-year-old daughter who was struggling, and brought her to you, and you could, to help teach her about budgeting in the process. So we did to do a lot of that kind of thing in the crossfire like that. The only place in the banking world where you're able to, where you're not forced with a quota, a boss breathing down your neck to sell debt like you have experienced, is small town local banks, community banks aren't as aggressive in the debt marketing, and credit unions. That's why I endorse both of those and not the large mega banks, because the mega banks are they're just pretty well debt peddlers is what they do. They just, if they figure if you're breathing, you need a bunch of their debt. And I don't know which one you're working at. I didn't ask, but the larger ones are much more soulless. in their approach. And, I've got friends in the community banking business. Obviously, I don't believe in borrowing money. I don't teach people to borrow money, but they're much more responsible with their interaction. There's a moral component for them with their interaction with their customer versus these mega banks. They'll just shovel as much down somebody's throat as they can get in there. And you're going to lose your job if you don't sell a certain amount of credit cards, car loans, and home equity loans in your position.
And I'll tell you the 30,000-foot view of your question is you can't work very long in a job that violates a core value of yours. Whether that's treating people disrespectfully, whether that's, like Dave said, peddling food that you think is not healthy, selling debt, at some point you will begin to fracture from the inside out.
Yeah, I mean, let's just completely change the metaphor. Let's pretend that that alcoholism killed your father, and you don't believe in drinking, and drinking scares you to death. You'd make a horrible bartender.
Yeah.
And that's what John's talking about is and you don't need to quit today. We're not suggesting you run in there with your hair on fire and make some political statement. We're not trying to make you into an activist, okay? But long term, what is good for you is to find something, and that's the itch you've got. That's what you're scratching. Is long term, you need to find something that is congruent with your belief system and your values. You're not going to prosper otherwise. You're never going to be a really great banker at that bank.
That's exactly right. And you're never going to be able to sleep either.
Yeah. The boss isn't going to be happy. The customers aren't going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. Nobody's happy. You're not selling enough debt. The customers are getting debt. They're not happy. You're selling debt. You don't want to sell debt. You're not happy. Nobody's happy here.
Yeah.
And so, you're head on your pillow, dude. And so what I would do is I'd develop like an 18-month runway or a 12-month runway that says, all right, I've got to start doing some of King Coleman's materials on hunting for a career, thinking about a career. I'm going to investigate, for instance, the financial advisory world. What's it take to get into that? What have I got to do? What licensing have I got to get? What have I got to do to get hired in that world and begin to move in that direction? But I would not ask a pizza place to not sell pizza.
Right.
And I'm not going to ask a bank to not sell debt. I am going to ask all of you to not buy it from them so that you're not harmed. But I'm not going to expect an alligator to quit biting. It's what alligators do.
And this is a common situation. He says he just graduated, started this job that
he wanted to help people.
Right. You have a vision. And this
help people with money. And banks got money, so I'll go over there.
That's right, man. But that happens to graduates all over the place, right? And then they get in and see behind the curtain, see how the sausage is made, see what we're actually doing here. And then they have a crisis of value.
Yeah.
Right.
Crisis of conscience. Yeah, it's very real. I appreciate you, Ryan. You're a man of integrity, and you weren't being a drama queen about it. You weren't being crazy about it, but you're just going, this just feels weird, and I don't think it's going to work. And you're right, it's not. It's not going to work. And,
so
they're not going to change.
Right.
Okay?
So how do you treat them with dignity?
Yeah.
And then how do you hold your head up high when you go find something else?
Yeah. You're going to suck at selling debt, so they're going to be happy when you leave. This is The Ramsey Show. Folks, it's an honor to tell you about the Army National Guard. Not only are they big supporters of our high school curriculum, but they also give you the opportunity to impact your local communities. Whether your goals are to get an education, serve your country, or have a better life, the Army National Guard can help get you there. Plus, they offer unbelievable financial benefits. Secure your future today. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. This is The Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Peak real estate season is here. If you are thinking about buying a home this year, here's a piece of simple advice that could help save you from making a six-figure mistake. Don't buy something you don't understand. Are you sure you're financially ready for that mortgage? Are you confused about how the buying process works? Are you confused about the mortgage? Press pause and get educated before you buy. Start by checking out our new 13-step home buying checklist. It's free. You'll learn about every step in the buying process from saving for the down payment to the closing day. Plus, you'll get pro tips on how to make smart money decisions along the way. To get this free 13-step home buying checklist, text home checklist, no spaces, home checklist to 33789. Or you can visit the checklist and find out exactly what it takes to buy the home you're dreaming of. Text home checklist to 33789. Nick is in New York City. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the the Ramsey Show. Hey, what's up?
How you doing, Dave? I wanted to ask you, I'm 22, turning 23 this year, and I wanted to start saving for my retirement. My company doesn't offer a 401k plan or anything else, so I was interested in what your thoughts are on what kind of IRA I should get into, a traditional one or a Roth one or something like that. Or if you have a better solution, I would love to hear it.
Well, good for you, man.
That's
You're
awesome.
way ahead of the curve to be working on this at your age. Excellent
Way
job.
ahead.
So are you out of debt?
Yeah. I mean, right now the only payments I make are on my phone watch, and that's about $60 a month.
Okay. Your phone what?
Phone watch.
My cell phone and my smartwatch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Together they cost about $60 a month.
That's just the cellular service. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And the and how much money do you have in savings?
Well, in my personal savings, I have like a few $1,000s, about $3,000. But when I was in the 8th grade, I got hit by a truck. So when I was 18, I got some money from that, and I invested it in stocks, about $43,000.
In single stocks?
Yeah, and E-Trade and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, before we move into investing, I need you to have 3 to 6 months of household expenses. Are you on your own, or are you living with mom and dad?
No, I still live with my parents.
Okay. All right. Your $3,000 probably is your emergency fund. All right. To start with, Nick, let's just back up. The first thing is I don't do single stocks. I know a lot about them. I buy investments. I've got hundreds of millions of dollars of investments, and but I don't buy single stocks because I don't like the risk associated with that. And the game you're playing, there's a lot of risk. Now, if someone is really loving it, and you obviously have a knack for it, and it's something you want to fool with, no more than 10% of your net worth. So in your case, about $2,000 worth is about all you ought to have in single stocks. You're taking too much risk, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would move that towards mutual funds. And then as far as
I
starting...
have a few ETFs. It's not only single stocks, but it is mainly single stocks. Yeah.
Okay. And then the next question is, when are you planning to move out, and what money do you need to do that?
I don't really have a plan on moving out yet. I'm still, I just started working, and I probably would want to move out between 26 and 28.
Years old?
Possibly, yeah. I'm not really sure on what I'm doing with that yet.
What do you make?
About $16,000 a year.
What do you
I'm
do?
working in a work study program right now. Yeah, so I'm not making a lot of cash.
When will you complete the work study program?
A few years. 2 years, 2.5.
Okay. When you get your income up to where you can, I don't want you 28 years old in your mother's basement, dude. Get out and get going. You do not need to start your Roth IRAs yet. You need to pile up money to make the transition out of your household and complete your studies and complete your career. Get your career going. Then you need to start, and I would start with a Roth IRA in good growth stock mutual funds. I love that you're asking the question, but you're a little bit early in your process, not in your age, but in your process. You're in the middle of transitional things that need to happen before you start investing?
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around that spirit, and also that it just seems out of balance. You don't hear that very often, that someone's thinking so strategically and so far ahead, and also I'm gonna live into my parents' house. I'm about 30, 28. You know what I mean? It's always the other way around. I've got people like racing out of their parents' house the moment they can and buying too big a house or a truck and saying, "Hey man, you gotta have a future too." And so this kind of flipped around a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your own place, Nick. Get your own place, man.
As soon as you probably can't do that on 15K in New York City,
Especially not
okay?
New York,
but when you get this work study thing going and you can get your income coming up in the next 12 to 18, 24 months or whatever, then let's move out, get your fully funded emergency fund at that point of 3 to 6 months of expenses, remain and stay debt-free through that whole process, and then you would start investing when you're stepping into your career. And 15% of your income is what I would do there in good mutual funds with a good Roth IRA. Bill is with us in Dayton, Ohio. Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm great, Dave. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I have a question on inheritance. I'm debt-free, no house payment or anything, debt-free. I do have an emergency fund of about $25,000, $30,000, but I'm about to inherit about $440,000.
My goodness.
And it's going to be in a traditional IRA.
Okay, an inherited IRA. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know what the best. I think I have to take that out.
You do have to begin taking it out.
5 or 10 years.
Yeah, you got 10 years on the new laws that just passed a year ago, and so you're going to take out a tenth a year. Doesn't mean you have to take it out and spend it, but it's not going to be protected under the IRA, and whatever you pull out is taxable each year. There's no penalties on it. But you can and you can't roll it into your own IRA. You can take it out, pay the taxes, and then you do whatever. So 40, 50 grand a year is going to be rolling out into your hand, and you need to decide ahead of time after I pay the taxes on that, what am I going to do with it?
Okay.
And in the meantime, it ought to be parked in. You can move the investments around inside the inherited IRA. Is it already in good mutual funds, or do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I have to look into that.
Okay.
So I can move it around if I want to move it around.
Yeah, you can move the IRA to a SmartVestor Pro, sit down with them, develop 2 different game plans, one for the existing pile of money in mutual funds, and 2, what am I going to do with these mandatory rollouts? This mandatory money I have to pull out, and you can turn around and have another investment account, and it just moves right over into that after taxes.
Okay.
You don't have to take it home. You don't have to take it home by truck. It's not required. But
Right.
you may want to. You may want to do some nice things with it. You may, there may be a few things you want to spend some of this on. You may be some generosity things you want to do. And that's okay. It's your money.
Okay. So it is better to take it over the 10-year period, to take a little out at a time because of I'm assuming it's a less of tax.
Yes. Because all that money that is taxed, let's say you pulled every $100,000 you pull out, you're going to send 25 grand or so to the government. That 25 grand is going to continue to make you money in there
over the 10
using
years.
the government's, what is effectively going to become the government's money. It's going to make you money. So I don't want to send it to them until I have to. The only downside is we may see some bumps in tax rates in the current political climate. So we'll see. Hey, thank you for calling. This is The Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. phone number is 888-825-5225. Kim is with us in New York City. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm considering selling my investment property to use as a down payment for a new home. The issue is I bought it for $375K, and it looks like I'm probably going to end up selling it for $345K, so it'll be at a loss. Will I still get hit with capital gains?
No, capital gains are based. I mean, you didn't do a 1031 into it. You didn't trade into it, did you?
No, I didn't.
No, you don't have a capital gain if you're not gaining. So.
Okay.
That's how So you're fine. Why is it losing money? Current
Well,
situation in New York?
Well, yeah. So I bought it during that whole bubble. So it was when rates were high for homes, and now it just never went back up to that price point again.
From
So it's been
2008
15
or
years.
from COVID?
Yes. No, from 2000. So for 15 years, it never went back up to 375.
Wow.
I am getting rid of that.
Yeah, it's definitely not a keeper.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's been a fun experience. I'm with you. I'll take my loss, take my lumps, and move on. Yeah.
Right.
You can see a tax
Exactly.
professional to be sure. I'm not a tax pro. I don't even do my own taxes, but I've been doing real estate, thousands of real estate transactions through my life, and so I do know capital gains law, and you do not have a capital gain if there's not a gain. It's a pretty simple thing. Wait a minute. You know what? You need to see your tax pro, because whoever's been doing your taxes will give you your adjusted basis. You've been depreciating it for 15 years, and so you've been lowering your basis for 15 years. Your basis for tax calculations could be less than $345. It is not what you paid for it. It's what you paid for it minus the depreciation you've been taking on your taxes. That's your adjusted basis, and that might be below $345, so you might have a gain. But I don't have any way of knowing what that is. You'd have to look at your last tax return or talk to your tax pro. But if you've been systematically depreciating the thing for 15 years, you may have a $100,000 gain. You very well could.
So walk me through that. I know that if I have a tractor for my farm, I'm going to depreciate that every year because it's actually losing value.
Yeah, and when you sell it, if you depreciate it on your taxes as a business transaction, as a business tractor, not a gentleman's tractor, but yeah, then it's going down in value.
Right.
And
but how do you do that with a house? Because I thought a house
with a it's not the loss in value, but it's the same concept. You are allowed to write off 1/30 of the house every year.
I did not know.
And so as a tax of the not the lot, but of the actual capital improvements. So let's just make up a number. Let's say that she paid $375. The lot was worth $75. She's got $300,000 worth of capital improvements that can be written off over 30 years.
Yep.
Then that's $10,000 a year.
Regardless of that house could be worth $1 million, she can still write off.
Well, it doesn't matter what it's worth.
You bought it for.
Can depreciate. You can take $10,000 of loss against your income, depreciation.
Okay.
In that case, if you divide it $300,000 by 30, okay, each year. But then that lowers your basis. And so if let's say it was $10,000 and you did that for 15 years, that's $150,000. You've lowered your basis. Now when you sell it, everything above that lowered basis is a gain.
Well played. Okay.
And so she's going to have a gain if she's been depreciating that house, and she probably has.
Yep.
Most people that have rental property do take the depreciation because, in a sense, if you got $10,000 and you made $10,000 in rental income on the house, you had tax-free income.
Right. It's a wash.
It sheltered it.
Yep.
Real estate has a tax shelter to
Gotcha.
it. That's what a tax shelter is. That's where the phrase comes from. All right, Colleen is with us in Augusta, Georgia. Hey, Colleen, how are you?
Hi, Dave. How are you? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
I'm in a little bit of a bind or a pickle. I recently came across your program through my church. It was given to us, and I started following your program about a month ago. I am on baby step 2, though I've already completed baby step 3, and I know you're going to say, what you're going to say, but my concern and worry is I have my husband, his income has been kind of unstable, so I'm a little nervous about depleting savings and throwing it to my last debt. So I guess I just need some advice.
Okay. Well, you're right. You're not doing the baby steps. You're doing your plan. But the thing, how unstable is his income? I mean, do you think he's going to lose his job?
He's been having some problems with some struggles and has had to go away at times to seek some treatment. And kind of left me holding the bag, which is fine because I feel like we make enough income for
And is
me
he
to
still
handle
fighting
it.
the addiction?
Yes.
Okay.
He is.
All right. And what do you make and what does he make?
I make about $80,000 a year, and he's around 50.
Okay. And how much debt do you have and how much is in savings?
I have a $18,000 car loan and a $24,000 personal loan with zero interest, and the car loan is about 1.79. And I've actually been able to send.
And how much
about
debt? How much
2,000
debt do you have? I mean, how much savings do you have?
17,000.
Okay. All right. So there's not really a way to work it in our system like you're working it. What we tell folks is one of two things. One is work the system, and that would be pull 16 of the 17 out, throw it at this situation. I would not do that in your situation. The second way to address this is I'm in the middle of a storm, and so we don't work the baby steps. We just push pause, and we pile up cash.
Okay.
How long has he been struggling with this, and how long have y'all been married?
We've been married about 6 years, and he's been struggling for about 2 that I was aware of. I guess I kind of ignored
what's he
some time.
addicted to?
Mostly alcohol, which relates to a lot of PTSD, wartime issues, and things of that nature.
Okay. He's hurting, and he's hurting you
Mm-hmm.
in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are hurting. And so you don't need to be working an intense baby steps program. You need to be piling up cash and addressing this. And you don't need an $18,000 car debt. So you probably ought to move down in car until you all get this situated. Because anything we can do to have more cash and less debt stabilizes your life while you fight through this and make these decisions. I'm so sorry. But let me tell you what let me tell you what you can't do. You can't continue to sort of do life while he sort of fights this. And I'm sort of going to work a plan because I sort of hope this is all sort of okay. It's kind of all in or all out. Am I missing something, John?
No, that's 100% right. And I love, Dave, you just said it right. This isn't a time to be gazelle intense because somebody's hurt, right? And even if you pile up cash and you put it in your checking account and just even mentally, you can tick off. We're getting closer and closer. In 6 months, in a year, you're able to just write that check and pay your debt down or pay your debt off. But he needs to go full in and get this thing taken care of, or to get on a path. You don't get taken care of in that way, but you need to go on full adventure here to go get on a new road to getting well, and he needs you by his side in that process.
Yeah, you don't glide in the middle with PTSD and with addictions resulting from it. There's no middle.
Can I ask you this question, Colleen?
Sure.
Actually, let's do this. Can we hang on
Sure.
and roll over? Hang on here, and we'll catch you after the break. And I want to ask you a question as we follow up here.
Yeah, we want to make sure we walk with you because your financial stuff is ending up being the symptom of all these other things, and the fact you can't move forward is the symptom of all these other things. So we got to help you with the whole picture. And this is a good man who's been wounded, and we want to help him.
It's hard stuff.
Our scripture of the day, Hebrews 10:23. Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. Amelia Barr says, it is always the simple that produces the marvelous. There we go. We're talking with Colleen in Augusta, Georgia. The young man that she married has some PTSD and is resulting in some alcoholism, and not some, is, and so his income's unstable because he's been apparently in and out of rehab a couple times, and so she's trying to figure out how to work the steps during that. We told her, don't just shut down, pile up cash, and let's work on getting him well so that we are well, so that we can plan our future out. And that's where we left it. John?
Does that sound right, Colleen?
Yes, that's right.
So let me ask you this. Sometimes folks who are married, they love somebody who's struggling with addiction. That's such a helpless feeling. It's such a unmoored, unstable feeling that they start looking around their world and trying to grab hold of anything they can control and just start doing it really hard. Is there a part of this situation where you feel powerless as he's going up and down, struggling with this, that this debt journey is a way that you can grab control here? Or are you just looking at your budget and you're terrified?
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Colleen.
Your phone went sideways.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like it's a little bit of everything. I feel like it's just been a struggle because I feel like everything falls on my shoulders, and not that he's always brought income to the table.
We just lost you, Colleen. Yeah, we just lost you there. Yeah, Dave, as I was saying, that powerless feeling, and it's always brings, like she was saying, always brings income to the table. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. The tendency is just to say, what can I do to make myself safe? And then you jump into a program like this that only works if both of you are on the same page, right? And one of you really gets dedicated to a process, and the other person's kind of in and out and not healthy, not fully well. And, man, that undermines the relationship further accidentally, right? And suddenly you're going head-to-head on how we spend money, going head-to-head on are you making money, and then it just separates you from the inside out. I love the idea of stacking cash, making sure you're on the same page. If you've got to do something, help him on his debt-free journey.
Yeah,
I
might move down and out of car.
Yeah.
And I would, other than that, I would just pile up cash as high as I could pile cash to get rid of that $18,000 car loan.
Right.
Not because it's an expensive car, but just it's a dadgum car loan. Right. And I'd like for you to be free of anything we can do to make less stress so you can pile up more money so you can address the real issue.
That's right.
And the real issue is to help him get some healing. Yeah. It sounds like he's a wounded warrior.
Yep.
In a sense, psychologically.
And those are hard, man. Hard moments.
It's a tough thing to go through. And time we love him and thanks for his service. And then you guys work and let's get everybody on the same page with an ongoing coach, an ongoing counselor, a 12-step program, and a rehab or whatever you need. Get it all lined up and pay for it, and let's do it.
Let's get it done.
And plug it in with a VA, whatever you got to do to get the help.
And you get a clear-eyed.
But you can't accept this as an ongoing. I don't want to project this for you. That's why I put you on hold and held you through this. I don't want to project this for you. I don't want you projecting this instability in and out as the way of life for the next 10 years.
No.
Or 20 years.
No.
That's not okay. That becomes codependent on your part.
And it will get, with somebody with PTSD and alcoholism, that will get increasingly unstable.
Yep. Right.
That will continue to devolve and deteriorate.
It's either gonna heal or it's gonna get worse.
That's right.
And so you got to be working on the healing side of it, to where you say, okay, we have a number of years, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. We're going to be clear of this, and we're going to look back in our rearview mirror and go, well, that was crappy, and I'm glad we did it together, and I'm glad we held on, and now let's work. Take this pile of cash, and let's work on through, and let's get going, and let's.
And I tell you, you want to accomplish a goal, get a clear-eyed, well-focused veteran by your side. Man, you're going to go fly through these baby steps, right? It's hard to stop.
Oh, you mean him healed?
Oh man, he's going to be the greatest partner you ever had.
Yeah, because I mean, once you've been through that stuff, you've been under live fire.
That's right.
Credit card debt doesn't bother you. it's not a big thing,
That's right.
So
I want every veteran listening to this, driving down the road by yourself. If you're struggling, please, not for anybody else, but for yourself, do what you got to do to go get well. Go see somebody, go talk to somebody, and then you're going to realize it is for yourself, but it's also for your kids, it's also for your wife, it's also for your husband. Go get help.
But the healed version has an unbelievable ability to focus,
to do anything,
and a rewired discipline.
Yeah,
that is there, and
it's a foundation.
That's
right?
what you mean. You say a clear-eyed veteran. They have there's this built-in priorities.
Yeah,
and don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff.
Hey, I'll never forget, man. I can tell you who he is right now. I was walking down. I was working at a law school. We were walking down the hall, and I said, man, it was exam time, and law school exams are hard. And I said, man, are you stressed? And he said, well, sir, nobody shot at me today, and I'm in the air conditioning, so I'm doing all right. And I remember going, whoa, that's a stud. What a perspective.
There's an old sales motivational story of the guy that won, the number one sales guy for one of the big franchises in real estate, and they brought him up on stage to give him the trophy, number one in the whole nation. I said, how did you do this? And he goes, well, it's not hard. You just talk to people about houses, and they buy houses. And he said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, like I walked in Burger King the other day, and I was sitting there and I looked over, and there was a young couple looking at Homes Magazine. I went over and said, hey, y'all looking at houses? And they said, yeah. And ended up selling them a house. And they said, well, weren't you scared to walk up to strangers? And he said, honey, I did 2 tours in Vietnam. I'm not scared of people in Burger King.
I tell you what, a clear-eyed veteran will help solve our community challenges, will be the best husband you could ever have, the best wife you could ever have. Go get the help you need.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Yeah. And she's brave to be fighting this beside him. But
That's
don't
go all in.
Don't be under the illusion that you can sort of do this stuff.
You got to go all in.
And you can do enough over here while he is over here tearing it down.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's never going to work. That's
go
not
all in on
formula
healing first, and then go do the baby steps,
Yeah.
and you are going to sail through those.
New baby step. You have a new baby step.
Yeah.
You got to do this before you start the baby steps.
I like it.
That's what it amounts to. And that's true in any situation where there is a crisis of some kind.
Yep.
And, what you guys are facing is a crisis, and a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. And we'll be praying for you. We love you.
Yeah.
And we appreciate his service. We appreciate
her service, man.
Your bravery and staring this demon down.
Yeah.
And if you hold on, Kelly, if you can, that phone went sideways. Sounded like she dropped it down the garbage disposal. I don't know, but if you're still there, Kelly will pick up, and we'll try to get you on John's show later, and maybe he can walk you through some other stuff and walk you through the whole process. Personal finance, folks, is 80% behavior. We all know what to do. It's 20% head knowledge.
Yep.
It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a matter of being able to do it. And since it's 80% behavior, it's also 80% relationships.
I was going to say
dysfunctional, toxic, screwed up, twisted, messed up family, extended family, misbehavior, addictions, laziness, whatever it is going on in people's lives, affects your finances more than your lack of knowledge about how to do the math.
Get people in your life. If you find out, hey, I can't stop eating this thing, I can't stop drinking this thing, I can't stop filling the blank, get people in your life.
There you go. Good show, John.
Thank you, man.
Nice job, James Childs and Kelly Daniel in the booth. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.